Hey, everybody. Carolee with Conversations with a Vet. Welcome, everybody. Happy to see you, Ron, Rimfire, Jason. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I have a wonderful guest today. He's graciously decided to come on the show and share his story, and you'll learn a lot about this wonderful veteran. So thank you for being here. Jim, welcome. Let's get a little music. Um, we're going to get in. We're going to do basic music. Then maybe a little later, we're going to show you some other music that pertains to one of James Thornton's resources that he's utilized. Let's find some music here. All right. Let's do, hmm, I guess we'll do a little bit of rock. There we go. All right. Who else do we have out here? Jim, hopefully everything's going well with you since the move. Haven't had really fun yet. Ron, seeing you out here. Your show is doing great. Glad to see everything's moving well. Rimfire, hopefully everything's going with you. So for my guest tonight, he is an Army veteran and has quite a story to tell. He goes all over the country and tells his story as well. So without further ado, go ahead and introduce Mr. James Thornton.
Good
Hi.
evening. Hi there. How are you?
Great. And how are you?
I can't complain. You know those saying, nobody cares, nobody listens.
Well, that's a whole other story, right?
Right, exactly.
All right, let's bring this music down a little bit here. All righty. Now I can hear myself. Actually, I hear like echoes in my headphones. Not sure what that's about, but so you celebrated early birthday yesterday, didn't you?
I did, yes. My beautiful girlfriend surprised me with a birthday party. My family, her family were all there. I thought we were just going out to eat and I was going to meet her somewhere, but little did I know there was a lot of people sitting there waiting on me to get there.
That's awesome. And I saw some of the photos of it, and it looked like you had a wonderful time.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It looked like you guys had a wonderful time. Saw some of those photos.
Oh yeah, well, we had a blast. It was great. It was awesome. I I was very surprised and very overwhelmed.
That's good. Life should be about surprises, fun surprises.
That's correct. That's correct.
So thank you very much for agreeing to come on the show and tell your story. And I want to make sure to tell you thank you very much for your service and your sacrifices. It means a lot. Uh,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Veterans, of course, have a very special place in my heart. So um, let's start off a little bit by telling me a little bit about your childhood and your education.
I'm the middle of three boys. Mom and dad didn't play around. My oldest brother is 14 months older than me, and my youngest brother is 9 months and 1 day younger than me.
Okay.
So I was actually born in a little town that's famous for Jim Beam whiskey. It's called Claremont, Kentucky. I was actually born in Claremont.
Nice.
So born and raised here in uh, this part of Kentucky. Went to high school, everything here, played football, ROTC, you name it. I had my hands in it a little bit at least. And then signed up for the Army in 1991 and left for basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia in the middle of summer. Boy, was I smart.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's gotta be modern 80s.
Yeah, so we went in as a cohort unit and we all started out together, went through basic training together, then went to our duty stations together, served for 3 years together. So we knew each other pretty daggone well. And it was awesome.
It's kind of
It
like
was
a
really was.
football team from Little League on up.
Absolutely, absolutely. You bring in 150, 160 guys from all across the United States, and you break them all down and you build them all back up together. So it was pretty cool. I mean, literally, we knew each other better than some of our family members because we spent, those 3 years we spent more time with each other than we did our own families.
Right.
We
Yeah,
were
for sure.
we were gone a lot, a lot.
So, were you a good student in
Was I
high
what?
school? Were you a good student? Were you studious? No.
I was a class clown. Uh, yeah, I have to make a joke about everything. I still do it. I'll be 53 years old in a couple more days, and I still do it. I love kidding and cutting up and poking fun and just picking. I love it. It's the everybody used to tell me all the time. I'm the light of the party when I start drinking. So I don't have a reputation for being a bad boy when I drink. I promise you, you're going to laugh. Some folks have laughed hard enough they peed their pants.
That's great. That's great. So, before we get into too much, so let's see. Jim has said, "Happy birthday and thank you for your service."
Thank you.
Kirk, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to watch any of the previous guests that I've had. Kirk Spradley, he was on and he says, "Get some motivator." Now you're gonna okay. RTW. That that means
I can't think right now.
Kirk, you're gonna have to share that.
I've seen ROTL.
He'll share, I'm sure.
Yeah, you got to help me out there. I it's been a long weekend.
In and out. Oh, lovely. Let's see. Hold tight. I made sure everything was charged. I'm hearing a little bit of uh, static, maybe.
Are you still hearing the echo?
I am, but I think that's just my computer system. I change my settings and go back to my monitor volume versus my headset when I'm doing editing and such. So I'm sure there's a setting I forgot to am I cutting out for you?
Yeah, yeah, you're
I
cutting
am.
out. That's why I've asked you a couple times to repeat yourself. I
Okay.
know I'm half deaf, but I, you are cutting it out a little bit.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to leave you. I think what I might do is go out, go, come back in. For some reason, also, I've got two of me um, on the screen, like one backstage, because I don't know how to get rid of it. It just does not want to go away. So that might be the other issue. So let me check some settings here real quick. Okay. Can you hear me any better now?
Actually, yes, ma'am. A little lower, but you're pretty daggone
Okay.
clear.
Nice. I still have my echo, but that's okay. Let's see. Is this any better for you?
It is. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is it still too low?
No,
Okay.
not to
Excellent.
me.
Excellent. Woohoo. Okay. So, why don't you go ahead and share with me how it is you ended up, you said, going into the military and specifically the Army?
I had an uncle that had just retired a few years earlier, and he was in the infantry. He served a couple tours in Vietnam. So, when I decided I was going in, I knew exactly what I want to do. I didn't care what my scores were, what this was. I was going to infantry, period. You should have seen the look of the recruiter when I walked in. I'm like, look, I want infantry. Let's go.
Awesome. And so, how was your boot camp? How'd that go for you, your basic
It was
training?
hot. I was fat. it it was an eye-opening experience. Yeah, it was real hot, and I was real fat. I lost almost 50 pounds in basic training. I almost uh, didn't get to go in the first time because my weight was so borderline close. And that's my vicious dog Charlie back there. He's happy to see his mama.
Hmm. I saw him running around in the background, really cute.
Yeah, he's a German Shepherd Great Pyrenees mix. I rescued him. He's 2 years old now. He just got out of obedience school. You see how well it worked, right?
Yeah, I've tried that once or twice with ours, and yeah, it doesn't make a difference. Mine's just stubborn.
Absolutely, he is. Uh, he's a 14-year-old boy, is what he is.
That's appropriate, actually.
Yes, ma'am.
That's funny. So, what funny stories would you happen to have for boot camp since you like to be the
Uh,
class clown?
of course, being down in Georgia, there was things down there that a lot of the fellas that was in basic with us had never seen, i.e., armadillos. It was the funniest thing ever for the guys from up north, and you know, they come unglued when they saw an armadillo. It was funny. And then we were on a lunch break one time out on a range, and somebody caught one of the good southern grasshoppers, one of the great big ones, and they were daring folks to eat it.
Oh,
So one of my buddies who lives up in New York took his hat off and he started passing around, see how much money we can accumulate. And I was going to eat it. So I can't remember how much money was in there. It was 60, 80 bucks, something. And I just tore the legs off the grasshopper and chewed it up, stuck it out of my tongue, swallowed it.
oh my.
Hey, for that kind of money, I'll eat 100 of them a day. And then wash it
Oh,
down with some good old Georgia water.
oh, wow. That's crazy. Now I've heard of chocolate covered grasshoppers,
Hmm.
but one that's still alive? No.
Oh, yeah. Well, he didn't stay alive long. I'm much bigger than him. I think after probably the second chomp, he was probably done for.
Oh my gosh. So did you end up getting a nickname from that?
Uh-uh.
No.
No, no, I sure didn't. I really didn't have a nickname in the military until after I left the infantry, and when I reenlisted, I went into the medical field, and then my detachment of the medical unit, they gave me a nickname of Tank. It didn't stick real long, but yeah, because I was quite large, you know, and all these little male and female medical people, they were pretty small. So I I mean, when I come home from Somalia, I was 6'1", I weighed 198 pounds, and I wore size 28 pants.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're tiny.
My grandmother looked at me and was like, "Son, I don't know what they're doing, but you need to eat. You're hungry." I said, "No, I'm fine." She said, I mean, my face was, I've always been big. So when I come back at 198 wearing size 28 pants, I was built like a brick shithouse. I
I'm
loved
sure
it,
you
but
were.
I loved it, but Mama didn't like it at all.
So you ended up after basic training. Where did you end up going?
We went to the 10th Mountain Division, which is Fort Drum, New York. It's just north of Watertown, New York, uh, less than 30 miles from the Canadian border.
Okay.
Snowtown, USA. We have literally seen it drop 3, 4 feet of snow overnight.
Oh, wow.
And then we get to go
Beautiful, I
play games
bet.
the next day.
How did you fare being a southern boy with all that snow?
Well, being in Kentucky, they kind of still consider us a little bit of the Midwest. So we get some snow. Growing up, we don't get as much now as we did then. But, I've maybe at the most at that time in my life seen maybe a foot of snow. And then you go up there and you see snow drifts touching telephone lines.
That's
When
crazy.
they take the vehicles and they push all the snow up in the mall parking lot, there's still snow in the mall parking lot in June. It hasn't all melted yet.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a lot of snow.
I remember those days in Nevada. Um, in, April, May, before that snow would melt.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Take all summer for the fresh water to get warm enough to go swimming in. It
Hmm.
would take all summer. So you get
Yeah.
like 3 weeks of good, decent, warm water, and then here it comes. It's like summer, winter, winter, summer. There was no spring. There was no fall. It was like
Yeah.
overnight. Here it comes.
Yeah.
But we got all that lake effect snow off the Great Lakes, and we're right there in the corner of New York. So I mean, literally, if that system come across one of those lakes, it was dumping on us.
So, okay, so you were in New York, and how long were you there for?
I was actually there for almost my entire career. When I reenlisted, of course, I went in the medical field, and the Army thought it was a good joke that my new duty station was Fort Drum. So I literally went back to Fort Drum, turned in all my infantry gear, and picked up medical gear.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah,
just a different pack.
just a different pack. Had to move out of my barracks, had to move into the old barracks, and of course the infantry guys they lived in all the new barracks, so they were nice. But yeah, yeah, they thought it was a joke. Um, Here, just you're there, you might as well just stay. So that's what they did. I left the infantry unit and joined U.S. Medac.
And what did you think of it?
It was somebody flipped a light switch. I spent several months in San Antonio in AIT, and then when I got to back to Fort Drum, you go up to an officer and my name's Specialist Thornton. He said, "You can call me Robert." Yeah, in the infantry, the real army where I just come from, yeah, you don't do that. No,
No,
your name's Sir. You know, but it was like it. It took me a long time to adjust to that. I still never called him by Robert. I always called him by Sir, and they thought it was a big joke, big, funny, funny, ha ha. But yeah, and then once I was promoted to corporal, I was in charge of. I had 9 soldiers and 4 civilians, and other than my civilians, the soldiers were not allowed to call any military personnel by their name at all. I wouldn't allow it. It's just, I don't know, I come from a different breed, so to
yep,
speak, in the military. And I'm sorry if you were wearing, I don't care if you're wearing second lieutenant rank, your name's LT. You're LT. That's what you are. You earned it.
that's right. And you've got a lot of that Southern respect in you as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get in trouble all the time because I call people sir and ma'am, and I'm 53, and they'll be like 35, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. My mama's little bitty, and she's 70 years old, but if she's standing next to me and I don't say sir, ma'am, she gonna knock the hell out of me. I'm here to tell you. So yeah, it's just the way we were raised, and I still do it.
It's a sign of respect. That's it. And
Absolutely.
much appreciated for sure. So, how did you find yourself overseas?
Um, there were some people doing some bad things in Somalia, um, and President Bush, uh, the first one, um, sent us over there. The Marines took the beach, so to speak, secured the airfield, and then they started doing rotations of 10th Mountain and supply units over there. When we got there, we only had one job. We were the QRF, which stands for the Quick Reaction Force. Um, we stayed at the university compound. We lived there. If we left and we weren't training, somebody was in trouble because that was our job. We were to go out, and because the warlords and their militia were kidnapping UN and Red Cross personnel, stealing all the food, because that's what it was. I mean, Somalia was in like a 12, 14-year civil war, and people were starving by the millions. So that's how the UN and the Red Cross got involved, going over to feed the folks. and then the warlords and their militia would come in and kidnap everybody and take all the food. So the folks were still starving. So at some point, and they decided to send military in to help protect that food and the workers. That's how it started. And then, as
Okay.
we all know, it didn't last. It didn't stay that way very long.
Right. So, how long were you over there before you started seeing, um, not combat yourself, but like hearing the stories of others around
Oh,
you
the
that
first
have?
day,
It
the
was the
the
first
first
day.
day we got off the airplanes. Once we got everything checked, they put us on Deuce and Halves and 5 tons. They took us to the university compound. That night, they actually mortared the compound.
Oh, goodness.
So the very first night.
Wow. That's crazy. So go ahead. I'm going to let you just kind of go and talk about whatever it is that you'd care to talk about.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of a blank canvas for you, and where you go, I'll follow.
Okay. So what I do now is I travel around periodically, and uh, I talk to organizations. I talk to groups of folks. Um, and I'll go into further detail here shortly, but um, I really, really messed up the majority of my adult life. And as a lot of us have, and we have to learn to put pride, that ego aside, because, and you got to remember, I'm not qualified, I'm not educated and all of this stuff, but I lived it firsthand for 25 years or better. And when you learn to talk and when you really learn to listen is is when it starts to heal a little bit. I met a young lady up in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and through our conversation, she started telling me about, her father had committed suicide. So I had a video of a Gold Star family that we spent some time with, and they were talking about their dad. These three little kids, they were talking about their dad, and he come home and then he killed himself. And then she started telling me about her husband. Well, if I'm not mistaken, her husband served in Somalia as well after we had left. And she's like, he just won't talk. And I said, oh, yeah, yeah, he'll talk. She said, no, you don't get it. I've been married to this guy, a long, long time, and he just will not talk. And I said, ma'am, listen to me. He'll take a bullet for you. You're his best friend. You're his wife. You're the mother of his children. He will die for you. But why in the world is he going to talk to you about something that he knows you don't understand? He's not going to do it. I said, but
That's a
he'll
good
talk.
point.
He'll talk to me. So the next day he got there and she brought him over and introduced him and we hugged it up and all that good stuff. And everybody kind of got busy. And then later on they come over and I fixed him and I a drink. I always have some brown liquid courage with me. And we started chit chatting a little bit more. And I had him go around the table to see the TV and I played my video. And then you could just see it in his face. And then his wife was standing right beside him. And I started talking to him and started talking to him. And then the tear come out of his face, down his eyes. And I looked at his wife. I said, I got him. I told you he's going to talk. And I kept on for a couple more minutes. And man, he let it loose. He let it loose. She's standing there crying. She's like, I have never heard him say this stuff. And I said, remember, I told you, he does not want to confide into you some of his problems you just will not understand.
Right.
Yes, you're going to be there for him. Yes, you're going to support him, blah, blah, blah. Why is he even going to, waste your time, quote unquote? Why is he going to waste your time? So it turned out to be a very, very good meeting there with them. And I've learned that by me going and running my mouth, so to speak, um, I help folks. And of course, in process of me helping folks, um, I'm helping myself. It's a form of therapy for me as well. And
Absolutely.
when I go to these events, I tell them, look, a lot of you folks in here just will not get it. Um, why I'm here tonight, what I have to say. I said, but I'm after one, just one. If I'm up here running my mouth for 45 minutes, hour and 15 minutes, one, I'm going to get one. And that's what I'm after. And that's, my story's called We All Do It Differently. And later on, you'll hear a little bit about mine, but my life is no worse than anyone else's. We all do it different. You know, when I was a child, my grandmother used to say, if the good Lord allowed everybody in the world in one big room and you could throw all your problems into a great big pile, but the deal is you had to take one set of problems back out. Mama looked at us, she said, you take your own because you don't want to deal with what they have to deal with. And it didn't make sense when I was a child, but it makes sense now. And you're right. So, we're over in Somalia. My unit was actually in three different firefights. There was one on 13th of September, one on the 25th of September where they actually shot down a helicopter, and then on the night of October 3rd and into the 4th of October, which wound up being a 17-hour firefight that everybody knows as the movie is Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
So, the just to show how the military really focuses on mistakes from the past. You had several hundred soldiers. You had 10th Mountain. You had Delta Force. You had the Rangers. There was a couple different countries out there, and not one reported case of friendly fire. And we're inside of a city, going building to building, floor to floor, room to room, alley to alley, and not one reported case of friendly fire that we know of. So, that old term shoot, move, and communicate, it really works. And when you bust your butt every single day training, there's a reason for that. Because as young men, when we started doing our train up, we were gone constantly. We're like, oh, it's the same old shit day after day after day. Well, we got into combat, it made sense because it was just like training. You
Yeah.
know, you're moving, and this mannequin pops up, you shoot it. Well, guess what? In live combat, you're moving, and somebody pops up and he's not in a uniform, you shoot it. So, it works out. And that's the mental part, you know. Everybody can take a young man and make him physical. You can. You can make somebody, hey, eat good, exercise good, take care of your body. We can make you a physically fit person. It's that mental part, and it's the heart. That's where a lot of people have a hard time. It's, and I hate to look at our generation now and the way the military is becoming, um, because it's a turn. It was a turn from when my uncle was in to when I was in, and then it's a turn from when I was in to the generation that's in there now.
Yeah.
And you just throw your hands up. Sometimes you think, where are we going? What are we going to do? It's almost like it gets weaker and weaker, and that's my opinion. Uh, You know, um, you know, God bless the USA. So
Yes.
after we come back the morning of the 4th, after everything was done, of course, we didn't have cell phones. We used landlines through the Army switchboard, and they told us you had 30 seconds. So as a mother, I called my mom, and it was like real early in the morning here at home for her. And I was like, look, because of course I woke her up, and I was like, when you wake up, I said, you're going to see a lot of shit on TV. I'm okay. I love you. Bye. Now, as a mother, are you going back to bed after your son just told you that?
No.
Yep. She had every TV, radio in the house on, trying to watch the news, see what was going on. And then, of course, the next morning, everybody saw him the Somalis dragging Staff Sergeant Cleveland through the streets and jumping on the helicopters and all that stuff. And that's why, um, for the folks that actually participated in Operation Gothic Serpent, which is Black Hawk Down, it's a Pyrrhic victory. And a Pyrrhic victory. Let me see here. I got the definition. It originates from a quote from the Pyrrhus of Epirus, whose triumph against the Romans in the battle in 279 BC destroyed much of his own forces, forcing the end of his campaign. So it's a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that it's tantamount to defeat. It's not like, hey, we just won. We lost 18 boys that night.
Yeah.
We had 70 something wounded. Yeah, we killed in excess of 700 Somalis. That's not a win. That's not a win. So, with the exception of Chief Durant, who was actually taken hostage, we got everybody out. That's what we were sent in to do. We got everybody, you know, the wounded, the dead. We got everybody back except for Durant, and they got him. I don't know, several days later, but that's that was our job. The Rangers and Special Forces guys were having a bad day, and we went in to help
Yes.
them out. You just, you don't leave a brother out there. You got to go
No.
get him.
And I watched a documentary because at this time you cannot watch the movie free on Netflix or anything. You have to buy it or rent it.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched a documentary about it, and it was showing um, like the different routes that they would try and take, our military would try and take. And
Correct.
at almost every intersection, they'd get ambushed or something along those lines.
Correct. General David, who was our lieutenant colonel at the time, he retired as general. Um, he put it perfect in one of his stories that he told us. It was a baited ambush.
Hmm.
Somehow, we swear up and down, they knew what was going to take place that day. So we didn't know what was going to take place, but the Somalis and the Rangers and the Special Forces did. We weren't even on standby. We had no idea what was going on. We could hear shooting off in the distance, and then the radios just go crazy. So we were actually doing PT. We were at the bottom of the university, and it come across the radio. We were on alert status, but we weren't on standby. So we were in PT uniforms. And then one of the guys carrying the radio said that they just put us on alert. The squad leader stopped us. He said, go now. So, no more running through the roads. You're running up the hill through the grass in between huts and stuff like that. The buildings, get inside, get dressed, and get your stuff, get on the truck so we can roll. And then, once they sent the first several trucks out, they get down the road and they get in an ambush at the K4 Circle. Boys are getting shot up because we had asked for armored vehicles and it was denied. The Secretary of Defense at the time denied it, and um, because we were supposed to start bringing our soldiers home from there, and they kept telling him, "Hey, it's getting worse." I mean, heck, September 13th, September 25th, and October 3rd and 4th, something's going on here. So we got armor several days after October 4th, but yeah, we finally hooked up with the Malaysians who had the big white UN APCs and literally fought our way out there. And I tell you what, you feel like you're in a wheeled coffin because we didn't train inside APCs.
Right.
You got this little bitty hole you can stick the barrel of your weapon in. You got this little piece of glass and you pull the trigger. That's not us. That's not what we do. And the thing that I've talked to a lot of my brothers about, when we got to our destination and they opened them doors and we stepped out, first thing we did is take a deep breath. Okay, now I get to do what I'm supposed to do. Damn that vehicle right there.
Hmm.
So, and then, now it's time to earn your paycheck. And,
Right.
all the training and all that other stuff, it's time to earn a paycheck. This is what we signed up for, boys. And we got after it, and we got after it hard and quick. Um, I remember running in some of the Rangers out there, and then, and within the first 3 or 4 hours we were out there, we were all out of water and cigarettes because them boys have been out for a lot longer than we have, and we're sharing
Yep.
with them, and so um,
Oh,
I
that's
had,
making me thirsty just thinking about it.
yeah, once we got back, of course, we made a little a makeshift morgue. We was at the Pakistani stadium, and we had a bunch of wounded out on gurneys and stuff, and there was a story of a young ranger that got shot in the upper part of his back leg, just below his butt. And so he was going to be fine. I'm sure it hurt like hell. It missed the
Mhm.
bone, but he had a nice hole in his butt. And of course, he's laying on his belly, but he was panicking. He wasn't having a real good night. And they were trying to get an IV in him because they pulled the medics and the combat lifesavers, and we're down there sticking people, getting some IVs in them. And the story is that they couldn't get an IV in the young man because he
Oh.
was just so stressed out, and the veins collapsing. And somebody asked him if he smoked, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay." He handed him a cigarette, and he lit it for him. You got to remember, the young man is laying on his belly, and he told him, "So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Now I want you to relax, because when I come back in 5 minutes, if I can't hit a vein in your arm, I'm going to cut the catheter off this tube, and I'm going to run it up your ass. You're getting fluids today." So,
Well, if that's not a motivator.
hey, I'm gonna tell you now, as a young man, that motivates you. You don't know, huh? They said he laid there, smoked that cigarette, and he calmed way down. Come back, they stuck him with that IV. He was good to go. The way the doctor come down, give him a little shot of morphine.
Yep.
So it was a humbling experience. Again, I'm sure any combat vet would agree that it's not. There's not a victory.
Right.
The first guy that I ever shot, I can put his face on anybody at any given time. I've been looking at that man every day for 30 years. The question you're never supposed to ask is how many did you kill? Well, one. A combat vet will tell you one, because it's the first one that counts. That's the one that rips your heart out. That's the one that rips your soul out. It's just a continuance, but one, it's the first one. That's one when you hear these young people nowadays say, "Oh, I could kill somebody." Really? Really? You're doing it out of anger. I did it because I had to. But I'm going to tell you what it does to you. It takes everything in you out.
Yeah.
You just immediately changed. And the story is that, young men go off to war and grown men come back, because you'll age fast. And then you got your brothers there that are leaning on you, and you're leaning on them. And, it's that's how it works. That's how it's designed to work. So, and then, of course, everybody knows all about the movie and stuff, but we come home. Um, we got home December the 19th of 93. So, my marriage was not solid at all. I had a daughter, and then we had a second daughter, and she passed away April 10th of 95.
I'm
And then
very sorry.
in June of 95, I filed for divorce. So in roughly 16 months, I come home from combat and buried a child and filed my first divorce.
Wow.
So I thought the next best thing was to drink myself to death. And I tried. I'm telling you, I tried. Boy, give me an A for effort.
You're a
I
big boy. It takes a lot of alcohol.
It did, and I was pretty good at it too, unfortunately. Um, and then I moved to Georgia, and then while I was down there, I had a chance to get custody of my daughter and my son. So I cleaned myself up. I got full custody of my children. I come back to
Nice.
Kentucky, got them, took them to Georgia, raised them down there. Um, but I never left that bottle alone. It was that crutch that I needed. Excuse me. It was the crutch that I thought I needed. So every single time something didn't go my way, it was the bottle. It was the bottle. That was my answer. And that went on for many, many years. And I kept running around like, what the hell's wrong with these people? Something, you know, uh, in the military, we work together. We know what we're doing every single day by the hour. There's no ifs, no ands, no buts, no questions. Just what we do. And you can't live life like that. Trust me, I know because I've tried it and it doesn't work. Folks out here are like, no, we don't do that shit.
Right.
So,
Especially in the South. Nobody does 5 o'clock.
absolutely, especially in the South. So, as far as relationships, I was married and divorced twice. I've been engaged a couple times. I've had too many daggone relationships. And I always thought, what the hell's wrong with these people? Don't they get it? Do they care? And then I realized one day, with the help of some folks, that my just don't care attitude, my expectations were way too high. So, bottom line, in the long run, it was me. And this is where my 2014, I was working 60, 65 hours a week raising two kids. Well, they have a half brother that pretty much stayed with us a lot, especially over the summers. Well, I got sick in July of 2014. Thought maybe I had the flu or something, those summer flus, whatever. And it wouldn't go away. And mama kept fussing at me. My bosses kept fussing at me. Go to the doctor. Nah, nah, I can't miss work. I got kids at home. I'm a single dad. So the drinking, being sick, the children wanted to go to one of their aunts and uncles for the weekend and play with their cousins. I was like, cool, no problem. I took them over there, dropped them off, had a good time, come home, got into that damn bottle. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm alone. This is the first time in a long time I'm alone. And I don't know why. I still can't answer it to this day. But sitting at that computer chair, I noticed my belt laying on the edge of my bed. So I picked it up, no thinking, tied it around my neck, hung it from my bedroom door, stuck my hands in my front pocket, and I sat down. Well, I didn't dangle too long as my fat ass broke that belt. So I
Thank
hit the floor.
goodness.
So I sent my mom a text message. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, I need help now. So here come her and my stepdad. And um, that was in October of 14. So remember, I got sick in July. In October, I attempted suicide. So in December of 14, and I'm not a religious person. No, that's my thing. I have faith. I think religion has killed more people in this world than anything else, but I have faith. So in December of 14, I got a little tap on my shoulder one night. Said, "Oh, you want to die? Well, here, how about we try this out? And when we're done with it, you let me know how you feel then." So I was diagnosed with, I finally went to the doctor. I was diagnosed with double pneumonia and acute myeloid leukemia. And the doctor told my mother and daughter at the hospital the first night, they said, if he would have waited 2 more weeks, I'd send you guys home with hospice tonight.
Oh my
They
gosh.
said the treatment I'm about to put James through is probably going to kill him before the disease. And this little Chinese doctor, I love him to death, commenced to kicking my ass with chemo. I mean, they beat the far out of me. There were several days I laid in the hospital, didn't eat or drink, several days. And I mean, they beat me up bad. So they got me in remission. So 11 months later, I go back in for one of my checkups, and they're like, "We got a problem." I had relapsed,
Oh, no.
and it was back, and it was not happy. So the first time I went in was 3 months in the hospital, 3 months straight. And then for those 11 months, it was a couple weeks here, maybe a month here, maybe a week here, in and out of the hospital constantly. When I relapsed, it cost me 4 months in the hospital. And then they decided to do a stem cell transplant instead of
Wow.
a bone marrow. So my oldest brother was actually my donor. And they were like, he's got less than a 30% chance to even match you. Well, not only did he match me, they called him a super donor. Our numbers went off the charts together.
That's
So,
amazing.
yes, one of the funniest things that happened while I was in the hospital, of course, I told you I'm a class clown, I'm a joker. Well, my brother is too. He come in the hospital one night giggling and, being silly. And I said something to him, kind of smart ass. And he's like, fine, I'll just keep my stem cells. Now, you remember, my mother is sitting here. She's been in that hospital every single day that I've been in there. She had her bed over there. I had my bed over here. Mama was there. She'd go to work of a morning. She'd go off work. She'd come to the hospital, and that was it. So David said that, well, that's fine. I'll just keep my stem cells. And then, as a mother, you'll appreciate this. My mom sat there without even thinking, turned and looked at him and pointed at him and said, and I will bury two sons this year.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And we were playing, but no. And I will bury two sons this year. So anyway, we had
Go,
the stem.
mom.
Yeah, right, right. Um, we had the stem cell transplant, and I've been in remission ever since.
Ah,
And that was 9 years ago, 9, 10 years ago. And it wasn't funny, but it's weird. My father, my mother, and I all had cancer at the same time.
oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, dad passed away. Mom beat hers. And mom was telling folks there for a while the only reason she had cancer was so that she can help me through mine.
Aw.
Yeah. So, so we're still on this side of the dirt, this side of the grass. They seem to know what they're talking about when it comes to the stem cell transplant. So that was at that point after the attempted suicide. I stopped drinking. I decided I didn't go to class. I didn't do none of that stuff. I said, I just don't need it no damn more. Now, over the last couple of years, I still drink a little bit every now and then, but if I want to relax, I'll fix me one or two drinks. But I've got 170 bottles of bourbon sitting right over there. I've got a very nice collection. If I want to get drunk, I know I can. I don't have to leave. It's right
Right.
there. But I don't do it. Every once in a while, I might. I'm talking like many, many months in between. Has to be a very special occasion. So, um, my buddy, one of my Army brothers, his name's JT Cooper, um, lives in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He is a Purple Heart recipient from Somalia. JT's roommate was killed there,
Mm.
and one of his teammates was killed there. Um, JT moved to Murfreesboro, moved to Nashville. Anyway, he started a music career, 14, 15, 16-year music career. And in 2018, he started a veteran service organization called Warrior Rounds. And they define warriors as, of course, vets, combat vets, cancer survivors, um, Gold Star families, first responders. Everybody has a story. And the thing about Nashville and the country music scene is everybody wants to know the story behind that song.
Yep.
So they kicked off Warrior Rounds. And what they do is they bring those warriors down to Nashville, they put them in a real nice hotel, pick them up next morning, take them down to a studio somewhere. And thank you, Ron. And they put them in a little room with an accomplished singer songwriter. Now, when I say accomplished, a lot of the songwriters that donate their time and talent to Warrior Rounds are Grammy award winning songwriters. When I went down, I was hesitant. He'd asked me once or twice before, and I'm always like, nah, somebody out there needs it more than I do. So um, he finally called me up. He said, "What are you doing Saturday night?" This was on like a Wednesday. Nothing, hanging out at the house because I haven't worked since I had cancer. It completely destroyed my body. So I haven't worked since 2014. So he's like, "Well, you're coming to Nashville. You're going to be part of Warrior Rounds." I said, "JT, I've told you, man." He said, he called out two of my other brothers' names, and one of them lives right down the road. I seen, a little bit, but the other one I hadn't seen since I left the army. And he was in my squad. His name's Pete. And he said, "Pete's going to be here too." I said, "I'll be there." So we're not going to, remember I told you about the special occasions? Well, that
Mhm.
first night in Nashville was one of those special occasions. So the next morning we went down to the recording studios, and he introduced all of us and introduced the singer songwriters. And I got paired up with a gentleman by the name of Bobby E. Boyd. And Mr. Boyd is a Grammy Award winning songwriter. He co wrote Bless the Broken Roads that Rascal Flatts won a Grammy with. So
Great
I
song.
sat down with him in a room, his guitar, his little computer, and me sitting over here sucking down monsters. And we're just talking and talking. As I'm talking, he's typing and typing. And we wrote a song together. And then uh, about, I don't know, 6, 8 weeks later, we had a free live concert at the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Nashville, where they bring all the songwriters on stage and they sit there and talk about their experience working with that individual veteran. And then they have a large TV screens all over the place, and then they play our video. And then the singer songwriter plays and sings our song that we wrote together. So it was an eye opening experience, and that is what I tell JT all the time: is finally flip that light switch on.
Mhm.
Um, uh, right after I come home from that, I laid on that daggone couch for almost a week fighting demons, something telling me, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that." Hell no, I ain't doing that, and it's just back and forth for
Yeah.
almost a week. And then finally I just gave up, said, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." So I bought a 24-foot enclosed trailer, and I called JT. I said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna decorate my trailer in Warrior Rounds." And he starts giggling. He said, "Really?" He said, "What are you gonna do then?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna drive down to Murfreesboro with it, and I'm gonna steal all your shit." I just decided that I'm gonna spend my time traveling around the country as an ambassador to Warrior Rounds. He said, "I can't pay you." I said, "I didn't ask you to pay me." I said, "Give me all your shit." So I went to his house, and his son helped me load all the stuff up into my trailer, and I brought it home. And that's what I do. I go around and I basically tell the praises of Warrior Rounds, how important it's music therapy. I don't believe there's a single adult on earth today that music, it doesn't matter what genre, it doesn't matter. You can't tell me that music hasn't helped somebody at least once in their life.
That's
And
exactly right.
yeah, and it's for the folks that have that story, and we all do, every human does, every adult does. But for those first responders and cancer survivors and the combat vets, and they have that special story. And a lot of times they can't get that story out. I could we'll use you for an example, ma'am. I can set you in front of the world's best psychiatrist. I can set you in the room full of the best therapists. When you go in first thing, you're already mad. You don't want to talk to these people because they don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But I can set you in a room with an accomplished singer songwriter, and you won't shut up all day.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
If you go to YouTube and type in warrior rounds, there's a gazillion videos in there, and you just see these people just break down. I mean, the music therapy is just so powerful. It works. So I can't get out much. I don't have much energy. Um, but again, as part of my therapy, I want to help somebody. So a lot of great things since I started doing this. A lot of great things have come my way. Where many years ago, there's no way in hell you would have told me where I'm sitting today. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have done it. And this has all happened in a short amount of time. But it's an everyday fight for me to keep trying. And because trust me, it's much easier to throw your hands up and say, I'm done.
Right.
It's much easier. But I've made so many promises and I've made so many connections, I can't give up. I'm in too far now to back out. So again, when I go out and I have I'm having a total knee replacement on the 27th of this month. So I'll be down for a few weeks. But once I'm up, I'm looking forward to a big year with a lot of different shows. I want to do at least 2 shows a month, maybe 3.
Oh, wow.
Um, I just want to, when I do a show, it drains me though.
Yeah.
I cry, I blow snot. There's people in the audience that's crying, blowing snot, and it drains me. I mean, it really does.
Emotionally, yeah, to
It
the
does.
core, I'm sure.
Yes, ma'am. Because not only am I trying to help somebody, but every time I talk about it, I relive that 16 months.
Yep. But it's helping yourself too. And
It does.
that's the healing that you need to get through.
Absolutely. And then that's what I'm after. I'm just after that one individual. I honestly believe no matter where I go, no matter how bad I screw it up, I can get that one. I can make that connection to one. Well, if James is up there and the crap that he went through, this young fella sitting out there going, maybe mine wasn't near as bad as I thought. All it takes is for you to learn to bend over and pull your own head out of your own ass. When you accomplish that, there's nothing that can stop you from that point forward.
And I like the way how how blunt you were with that because I think that's what it takes a lot of because people get used to everybody walking on eggshells around them, afraid to say the wrong thing, afraid to trigger. And sometimes that's what you got to do is you got to come in like a bull and just tell them like it is.
Come in like a lion, go out like a lamb.
That's right.
Go in like a lion, come out like a lamb.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you can talk um, and you know about the same subject, i.e., combat vets, if you're a combat vet and you know the combat vet, talk. Put pride, put ego aside, and just talk. You don't have to sugarcoat it. Just
Nope.
talk.
Yep.
Pour a little glass of brown liquid courage, but make sure you only have 1 or 2 because that's all you need. Because the rest of the time you're gonna be talking, but just get that relax factor in
Yep.
and just talk. Again, put that pride and that ego aside because it's killed many a man, and it's going to continue. Our numbers wouldn't be 22 a day, if not more now, if it wasn't for pride and ego.
Hmm.
So I do what I can to help with the 22 a day. If I know I go to a show in Parkersburg or I go to a show in Naples, Florida, and I get one, when I go to bed that night, today's my 21 soldiers, not 22.
Right.
So I win.
Yep.
We win.
That's right. Because it really does take an entire tribe to help get you lifted up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've talked to it in front of an organization one time, and I had this little funky mic around my ear and down in front of my mouth. They were all high speed. And anyway, I'm talking and talking, and I just carry on sometimes. I looked out the audience, and there was a young man, and he was just coming apart. So I just walked down the steps, and I'm still talking and just chit chatting as I walk out through the audience. And I get down to him, and I pick him up, and I just hug him. I just hug the hell out of him. Sometimes it's all we need to do.
Yep.
We don't discuss politics. I don't care what side of the fence you're on. It's none of my business.
Nope.
But when it
That's
comes
right.
down to the end of the day, those young men and young women that are thinking about taking their lives, that's our business.
Yep.
You cannot call yourself a true American if you don't hurt for those people. Everybody can do something. Just figure
Yes.
out what it is that you can do.
Yep.
You just talk. It works.
And that's what this channel is. This is what I felt the best about doing for our veterans was this, giving you veterans a place to come out and talk, tell your story, whatever it may be. Talk
Right.
about whatever you want to talk about.
Right.
And as I said, you talk, I'll follow. And but this is for you guys. This is not me. This is for you.
When I go out, I run my mouth anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes or so. It depends on the crowd, really, and because you don't want it too short where they're like, "Damn, why did we even come up here?" And you don't want it too long because you can lose that audience.
Right.
You come out, you make a couple funny little statements, and you start mixing it in, and then you really, really hit. And then, that's by the end of it, if you're not seeing tears and snot in the audience, you didn't do your job. But I haven't been to one yet where I don't see tears and snot. So I'm very thankful for that. I tell people all the time, it's just one. I don't care if there's 10 people here. I don't care if there's 10,000 people here.
Yeah.
Just one. I just want one. And right now I'm batting 100. So, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm very, very thankful for that. So, in the long run, again, I don't want to die. I'm going to someday, but I'm not right now. I got too many things to do. There's no more attempted suicides. There's no more thoughts of suicide. My life is no worse than anybody else's. Again, the name of my programs, we do it differently. We all do it differently.
That's right.
So, and you think about it, if I'm an old, uneducated Army grunt, and if I can help just one person realize that they too can come out of their own mind and start the healing process, we all win.
Hmm.
We're like, damn, James did it. Why can't I? You know, again, my life's no worse than anybody else's. I just did something totally different than what most folks do. And I'm okay with that. It took me a long time to be okay with that. Um, but, and now, in the process of doing all this other stuff, I ran into one of my Army buddies that works for the Vietnam Traveling Wall, one of the companies that does the Vietnam Traveling Wall. So I got a hold of our mayor in the town I grew up with. I said, "Hey, we need to." And so anyway, I brought my buddy into town and had a meeting with the mayor. The mayor was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I said, "We haven't even told you the price yet." He's, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So me being an ambassador with Warrior Rounds, we're responsible for bringing the Vietnam Traveling Wall to Shepherdsville, Kentucky. We're going to bring it in the evening of July 24th, and it's going to be here until mid-afternoon on the 30th. So
Wow.
it's already turning huge. It's massive. It is the largest replica. It's an 80% replica. After we put this wall up, it's 360 feet long. That's just the
Gosh.
Vietnam. Part of this program is also called the Cost of Freedom. So we have other panels out front of the wall. And I mean, we have Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Beirut. You know, all together, there's over 70,000 names on that field at one time. So we're going to bring that in, and you know, we're gonna have a good time. We're going to honor some men and women that absolutely deserve it. You know, a lot of people don't know this. The youngest man on the Vietnam Wall is 15 years old.
Really? I did not know that.
Yes, young black man out of North Carolina. A lot about his age.
Wow.
He's 15. There's a couple 16-year-olds on there. There's also 8 women on that wall.
Wow.
So it's it's powerful. It is. It really, really is. I've been with the wall twice now, doing the escorts through the towns to where it goes and sits up. And I've never done an escort without tears in my eyes. You know, in Rushville, Indiana, there were some people helped a little old man up out of his wheelchair so he can salute that truck as it went by.
Oh,
That's
wow.
powerful. That's powerful. So, but if any of your listeners want me to come out and run my mouth through their organization, just have them get in touch with you. I'll be more than happy to schedule something up.
Wonderful, because I can think of a couple different groups. So I will make sure to get in contact with them as well.
Yes, ma'am. And I don't charge. There is no charge. I asked if they could make a donation to Warrior Rounds, but I don't charge. I tell folks all the time, I'm fat. You want to get me a hamburger or a plate of spaghetti when I get there? Good. Yay. I'm in there. Sweet tea or Diet Coke. But I don't charge. I'll never charge to come out and talk to the folks. You know, I just asked it, you know, maybe a courtesy donation to Warrior Rounds. So
Right. Which is
absolutely.
just amazing. I would love to be able to show the video of your song.
Okay.
Are you okay with that? I know it's not the best rendition per you, but but I want to go ahead and do that. Give people an idea of what it is and what it sounds like. But I do have to plug in my keyboard here.
Okay.
So we'll do that real quick. I guess nothing's real quick, is it?
Not at our age, right?
Nope. Uh,
I
yes.
mean, I'm getting to the
Make sure to
point now.
grab your
I walk
tissues.
past the bathroom. I'm like, well, you know, since I'm here, I might as well.
That's right. And while we wait for that, let's of course, Jim says, happy birthday. Thank you for your service. I think
Thank you, sir.
I might have hit that. Chad Bruner. And I know, Chad, you're listening. So you are on my list to contact about uh, Mr. James Thornton. And amazing how the stories come out inside the circle of trust. So he is one of the founders of Mind Overland.
Oh yeah.
So a great group there. And when you were talking about the movie, Jim says that he's watched the movie several times. The movie, its bits, pieces, can't even encompass all that took place. And his heart goes out to you for experiencing that.
Thank you, sir.
And he also said, so many don't realize that alcohol is a depressant.
In my show, and I'm gonna let a little thing out here. I call it the perfect solvent. It dissolves relationships. It dissolves jobs. It dissolves anything you care about if you allow it.
Yes, yes. He also says, congrats on beating the cancer and the bottle.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you guys have any questions for James, go ahead and get that out there in the chats. Also, James, we have Willis out there.
I
He's in the
saw him
chat.
pop in. What's up, Bar? I don't make fun of him too much because he's a Marine, and I just when I go to his house to see him, I got to bring him crayons.
Did he tell you what his favorite color was?
I think it's red.
Oh, cinnamon?
I I didn't know they had different flavors, but I'm
Well,
not
if
going
I
to.
had to, I'm sorry, I have 2 Marines, so
My
it's a
son-in-law
fun
is a
little one,
Marine, and of course my buddy Will is there. He's a Marine, so I don't hold it against him.
right? We can't do that.
No.
Okay, let's see if I can get this to share. And I think I've got it set pretty close. So let's take a look here. Let's see. There it is. Okay, everybody see that?
Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay, I'm going to make that a little bigger here. And we're just going to start right there at the song.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing this with you, James, and hearing your stories, and you inspire me, brother. Anyhow, let's just do the song.
Can everybody hear that?
I'm a survivor, my head's held up high, wounded and left for dead so many times in my life. My faith and family have kept me on the path. Somehow I'm still standing here, even in the aftermath. Thankful and grateful for the love I've been shown. Deep down I know I didn't get here on my own. And every life is a mystery. I'm better for the battles that I fought. Yeah, I'm on the road to recovery. It's just taking a little longer than I thought. Love is a journey with many twists and turns. Sometimes a straightaway till we twist and turn. Sand slips by while we're waiting on our dreams, wondering if happiness forgot about me. Today's a new chance to help somebody else. I can't do much good if I keep it to myself. Every life's a mystery, getting by the battles that I fought. Yeah, I'm on the road to recovery. It's just taking a little longer than I thought. I've never been one to do things by the book. I know now I needed all the time that it took. And every life's a mystery. I'm better for the battles that I fought. Yeah, I'm on the road to recovery. Taking a little longer than I thought. It's just taking a little longer than I thought. It's just taking a little longer than I thought. Something like that. Thank y'all. Thank you.
That's awesome.
He was a little
Thanks so
emotional
much.
that night. Usually, when the songwriters start talking about working with the veteran or whoever, they spend several minutes. And Mr. Bobby was just like, yeah, "You inspire me. Let's just do the song." He was pretty emotional. He's a great man. He really really is, and absolutely love him to death. He you know it's He's cool.
He seems to be. If you guys are interested in the interview that James had done with JT, you can go out to Warrior Round's YouTube channel and type in Thornton, James Thornton, and that video will come up. I started this right about the 3 minute mark just because I didn't want the video to tell your story. I wanted you that opportunity to tell your own story.
Right.
Um, so I started it there at that start
Yeah.
of the song.
And I tell folks all the time, ma'am, that if they want me to come out, and speak to their folks, they can go to that YouTube, type in Warrior Rounds, and then my last name, Thornton, and then pull my video up. And it's got that small interview there with me
Hmm.
and Mr. Bobby. And, you know, uh, it gives you a pretty good idea. I tell folks all the time, hey, flash it in front of you the people that make the decision, see what they think, because it gives you a really, really good idea what I'm going to discuss and what our long-term goals are. So
Exactly. And thank you so much for allowing me to share that. I'm going to do what
absolutely,
I can to have JT come on. Thank you for his information, and
yes,
we
ma'am.
will see what we can do to get him on, share his resource as well as his own story, but his resource specifically Warrior Rounds for any other veteran out there who is interested in having a song written about their own life story.
Yeah. Willis there with a home front sit rep. We're actually in talks with some folks, and we're going to do pretty much the same thing here locally. We're going to bring in about 10 vet first responders, and we've got a gentleman named Rick Ames that owns a local production company, and he's got singers and songwriters and all that stuff. And we're going to pair these folks up, and we're going to spend a weekend, and because we know it works,
Hmm.
I'm an ambassador for Warrior Rounds. I've pretty much been given permission by both JT and Mama Myra, his beautiful wife. Um, you know, I'm not out here putting any money in my pocket. I mean, at one time when I first started this, all I was getting was Social Security. So after I paid all my bills at the first of the month, I said, okay, I got $300 left. This is where I can go this week. This is where I can go this week. And then I got to wait till the first again. So, and then the money that I pick up while I'm out there, Mama Myra gets it, and it goes straight back into Warrior Rounds because these sessions that we do cost the company roughly $30,000.
Right.
So there for a while we was doing one every 6 months or so, and then we were doing them like almost every quarter. It's kind of dying down a little bit. The bad thing about uh, being in the veteran service organization picture is when one group or one individual messes up and it's plastered all over the news,
Yeah.
we all get a black eye. We all have to work extra hard to come out of that, whether we were a part of it or not. And
Right.
and and Dave from Homefront Sit Rep, he'll tell you my favorite quote when we meet with all these groups and stuff, say, hey, hold it. Nobody's mission statement says any damn thing about money. So therefore, if I see or hear of any greed, I take all my toys and I go home. I'm out.
Yep.
It's just that simple. I'm out. I my fat butt rolled up in here. I'll roll it right back out. It, I don't want to have anything to do with your greed because you're in it for the wrong reason. Yep.
Right.
Take my toys and go home.
Exactly.
And I
This,
will.
yeah. Well, and it makes perfect sense. That's not what it should be about, especially when you're talking about the 501(c)(3)s.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
not what it's about. Yes, you need money to be able to sustain help with any potential overhead that you have. Um, but you definitely don't need to be banking it up.
If you do the right thing, and I've been saying this since I've been doing this, if you focus and do the right thing,
Yep.
the money will come.
Yes.
the money will come. People will not, have a second thought. Oh, should we? Yeah, look what they're doing. You know, so
Yeah.
it's yeah. I don't play around with greed. I take my toys and I go home.
Does anybody in the chats have any questions for James?
Except for Willis, he can't ask
Except
questions
for Willis. Yeah, Willis, James has spoken. You do not get any questions tonight.
because it's 8:20 at night. It'd take me about 25 minutes to get to his house, and his beautiful wife's gonna be mad when I start banging at that front door.
Uh, Again, I really cannot thank you enough for your service and your sacrifice. Um, it just, it's overwhelming the amount of things that you've gone through and how you've managed to come out on the other end of it all and still with your sense of humor intact and your kindness.
Thank
And
you. A lot of people tell me that well, God's not done with you yet, and for a long time, it was yeah, that's just what people say, but now I know it. How in the world am I still rolling on? You know, my
because you
story's
still
not
have
written.
some things to finish.
Yeah, my story's not written yet,
That's right.
and I hope to write several thousand names in mine when I do write it. That's
Ashley, thank you so much for joining. And she says, thank you for your service.
thank you.
If you guys haven't already, make sure that you go out there after the show, you like it, as well as comment, please. YouTube's changed their analytics, so they're really watching for that interaction, not just the um, the likes, but the comments as well. So Jason says, you know, when you make it back down here to Murfreesboro to see JT, make sure we get in touch. Uh, yeah, he does. He cooks a great steak.
JT's a pretty good daggone cook now. I mean,
There
because
you go.
I think I told you the other day on the phone, they got 12 children.
Yes,
And
yes.
they have a couple of their own, and then they've fostered and adopted, and they're up to 12 children now. So he knows how to cook. And then I promise you this, when you go in their kitchen, it's just as long of a kitchen dining room as you've ever seen with this monster table. I mean, it's like you see pictures of it on Facebook or whatever, and it's like, no. When you walk in that kitchen, you're like, holy shit,
Oh
that's a
wow.
lot of space. I mean,
But
like
sometimes that's what you need.
3 refrigerators. I mean, just, but they're great people. They're great people.
When you have that many kids, yeah, you tend to become a really good cook and you make sure you've got all the space you need because then you also have holidays.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you ought to see some of the pictures of their holidays. Oh, my goodness. Shoo.
Uh, Jim says that your faith has given those that need help to have an angel from your ongoing story of giving.
I hope so. I hope so.
So I'm not seeing any comments to this point, and I know we are getting close to somebody's bedtime, probably mine.
It's only 7:23 there.
I know, but I am a year older than you.
Oh, well.
Well, thereabouts, almost a year. Let's see. Wait, you're turning 53?
Correct. Yes, ma'am. On the 24th.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So I'm a
Well, the
year
funny
older.
story is my orthopedic surgeon, the last appointment I had with him when we scheduled the surgery, he's like, when you want to do it? And I was going down to Georgia to hog hunt for the entire month. I go there every year. And I said, let's do it anytime in February. So he pulls out his calendar and he goes, oh, you're only about 2 months older than me. I was, oh, really? Yeah. He said, let's do your surgery on February 27th. I said, okay, it's fine. And then it dawned on me. I said, hang on a second. Why'd you pick the 27th? He said, that way I don't operate on somebody the same age as me.
Actually, well, I apparently, I really have a hard time remembering how old I am. I know I'm in the 50s somewhere. So um, it's interesting. So Jason had to tell me I'm actually you're only 2 months older than me. I was actually mine's in April. I'll be 53. So Donna said, Aunt Donna, welcome. She says, thank you for your service.
That's
Hey,
is that your sister? Yeah, that's my girlfriend's sister.
wait a minute.
I think so. That same name.
I have an aunt named Donna Warren.
And she got a sister named Donna Warren. So I don't know who it is.
Oh,
It's
well,
either her mother or her
yeah,
sister.
that would not be, yeah. Interesting, though. That just blew me away. I was like, wait a minute. Now I really am curious.
I am too. Oh, Miss Donna, which one are you?
You're right.
Let's see.
We'll see what she puts out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, we got Willis laughing at us back there.
Willis always laughs at me. Always.
Uh, I really, again, thank you so very much for everything that you have done. And for each and every veteran out there, if you want, if we haven't already been a guest on my show, please reach out, get in touch. You can get a hold of me,
Ashley
conversationswithavette@gmail.com.
just,
We
Ashley
will
just said
get
that's my
you.
mom.
Ah, okay.
So do you have a cousin named Ashley?
No, I do
Okay. Her
not.
sister's name is Donna, and she has a niece named
That
Ashley.
is
So I
so
think we
funny.
nailed it down.
That is so funny. So, Donna Warren, that's a good name. She's my favorite aunt, by the way.
Uh-oh. I think she's Pam's favorite sister.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah. She only has one.
But yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, make sure, like I said, check it out. If you know a veteran, make sure, send them my direction. At a minimum, have them check out the channel, watch some of the shows. I've been told I'm very low threat.
Absolutely.
So
Ab-
it's all about, again, it's all about you as veterans. That's what this is about. And the only thing I ask is to try and steer clear of politics. That's just one of those, you know,
And I did a very good job of that tonight.
you did. I was really happy with, and I
I
didn't
think
even warn you, by the way. So you did great.
I think they're all idiots, both sides.
Courtney, welcome.
They
Do you know
and
Courtney?
that's her daughter. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
It's a family affair. That's awesome. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
joining.
Yeah. That's who that is.
It is a
Um,
very good song.
so they're all idiots. I tell people all the time, I said they need to elect me as a dictator
Oh,
for four
we're
years.
talking about politics.
Well, a dictator is not the left or the right because I would fire every one of them son of a bitches and we'd hire all new ones. That'd be my only job. If you've been in office
Uh,
more than 6 months, your ass is fired, every one of them.
right, right,
Start at the low
exactly.
level and go all the way up.
Exactly. All right, everybody, check out warriorrams.com and join me again next Sunday, 6 p.m. Central Time. I've got another show, another wonderful veteran coming on to share his story as well. Again, please, 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 when we get done with the show, hit that like button, hit that share, comment, subscribe if you haven't. It's all about that interaction. So, again, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out tonight. Thank you again. Ashley, hit me up. Feel free to give that information to James and he can get that over to me. So she says she knows some veterans as well. So
Yeah.
awesome. Again, thank you guys very, very much. James, if you want to hang tight and we will go ahead and get some music going and we'll head on out. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful rest of their evening tonight.
Thanks,
See if we can
guys.
get some.
Appreciate you.
There we go. A little bit of music coming up. Good music.
Oh, there's my girlfriend. She's on there, Pam Howard.
Yes.
Got
Nice.
the whole daggone family in there.
That's it. All right, everybody. You have a great night. Again, thanks every single one of you for stopping in, jumping into the chats. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't. Love y'all. We'll see y'all next week.